Hello there and welcome. My name is Judas Pink, and today I'm going to be doing a basic HTML tutorial. This will be the first video in a series I'm going to be doing, which will be teaching basic website development. Now, to start off with, I'm going to talk a bit about HTML itself. So, in my eyes, there are three main focal points of a website. Now, or the things that create that website, rather. Now, there are other things you can get into to add uh, animation stuff, such as jQuery and other databases and whatnot. But the three main things I find that are the most important and the most essential in learning website development are the simplest things, such as HTML and CSS. Those are the two main ones. And then the more advanced, but very essential for a good aesthetically looking web page, JavaScript. Now, obviously I'm not going to be doing JavaScript in this video, and I'm not going to touch too much on CSS. But with this first video, I'm going to be talking a bit about HTML and the basics of HTML. Now, this is a very basic video, and this is very much for somebody who just started learning HTML and barely knows any, or somebody that doesn't know any HTML whatsoever. Now, HTML to start off with is the bare bones of a website. It's what tells the website what text it's going to be using, and what is like not the properties, but the main properties of that text. So what we're going to want to start off with is a text editing software. Now, text editing software will allow us to go into it, such as Word, and add text. So an example of this that's already on most computers, most Windows computers, is Notepad. Now with Mac, you have, I don't exactly remember what it's called. It's been a while since I've used a Mac. And then of course you've got your Linux-based one if you're on a Linux. But Notepad is a very simple one. If you're going to be doing an actual project, I wouldn't recommend using Notepad. But if you're a basic beginner, Notepad is just fine. However, to be honest, if you're going to be learning it, I recommend something free like Notepad 2. Now, I'll put the link in the description to this software that I'm using here, which is Notepad 2, which is a free software on the internet, and it greatly increases your productivity. Now, to start off with, we're going to learn about a fundamental piece of HTML called the tag. Now, a tag is a word chunk within greater than or less than symbols. Now, this is not going to be the beginning of the HTML document, by the way. But, so the tag is this. So as you can see, it's centered in between two greater than or less than symbols on either side. And as you can see, it's like encasing the wording. Now, the second part that we're going to need to know is the closing tag. Now, this is also very simple. It's, oh, voice crack there. It's a, trying to think of the name here, less than symbol, I believe, unless I got my orientations wrong. And then you're going to be doing a / and then typing in the exact wording of the one you want to close. And then you want to close that up and encase it. Now, to start off with an HTML document, we need to tell the computer that it's going to be running in HTML. But so to do this, we need to open a tag and type !doc type HTML and close it. Now this is a very essential tag. Without this, the HTML won't be able, or the computer won't be able to distinguish what type of code it is, and it will ultimately show up blank on the screen. I don't know if this is still the case. I believe it is nowadays, but it's always good to get into good habits because you're gonna have the older systems. Because as I say, I'm not sure about Windows 8. I'm personally on Windows 7 right now, but so that's very important. Now we need to open an HTML tag, and this is the one that I showed to as an example. So what this does is nothing will ever be outside the HTML tags except for the doc type. Now this is because the HTML tags is what encases the HTML code. And of course we're going to want to close that with a closing HTML code or tag. So everything that we will be putting into our document will be within these two tags. Now we're going to start off with a very simple one, which is title. And then we can immediately close the title. Now, what goes in between here is what we want the text to be. Now, the title is what's going to show up here. So if I say, dude's webpage, that's what's going to show up at the top here, and it's going to vary in style between Opera, Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, but it's all going to be the same concept, and it will always show up where you have your tag or your tab. So that's the very basic. It's just for aesthetics. It's just to mark it out so you can know what tab is your tab, essentially. Now the second thing we're going to want to put in here is a body tag. Now the body tag is what's going to hold the text of the main part of the HTML. So if there were to be a body tag of this, which isn't the case, but if there was going to be a body tag of this, the title would be up here, here would be the search bar and stuff, and this would be the body. Now the body is the main base of where you're going to put everything in here. So we're going to start off with a header. Now the header will be obviously larger font to make it pop out. Now we're not going to go into font types, how to change it, how to make it bold, etc. That'll be in the next video. But rather this will just be the bare bones. Now we're going to want to start off with an H1 tag. Now the H in H1 stands for header, and this 1 is the size. So we can have an H2, an H3, an H4, etc. So the H1 is the largest of the headers. So we're going to want to put like dude's web page within this. And we're going to want to close that header 1 tag. Remember to close it. Always remember to close your tags, otherwise it's going to be running on and it will not show up, and anything past this will just be a blank. So then we're going to want to put some content in here. So obviously when you want to do some content, you're going to use a paragraph. So the paragraph tag is P, which is very easy to remember. It's just the P for paragraph, and this is essentially just going to lay out the main text in your HTML. So the good thing about paragraph tags is if you do 2 paragraph tags after each other, they're not going to like crunch together. Since they're paragraphs, they're going to separate. Now what we're going to want to do is say hello and welcome to my first YouTube tutorial. And we always want to close those tags. Now when we save this, we're going to want to go to File and Save As. And as you can see, I already have a page saved here. So what you want to do is you want to save it as a name, such as home page. Now, the important thing about HTML documents is like how there's a .jpeg for pictures or .docs for documents. There's a .html for an HTML, as you can see here. So when we save it as a .html, Notepad here will do a very good service where it shows us the green tags, which are the tags, and then the black is in the text that you're going to see. So if you see here, if we delete this, it's going to tell us there's an error, which is greatly going to improve your productivity, and it's going to greatly help you when you're learning to code. Now, if we just close this up, and I already saved it, it's just mucking around. So if we go into my main folder, and we open up this home page, you'll see that up here, we have the title, Dude's Webpage. Now, down in the body, as I said, this is the body, we have Dude's Webpage in a very large font. Well, not very large, but a larger font. This is because it's a header. Now, if we were to change this to header 2, it would be slightly smaller. And down here we can see our paragraph, which I believe is just like basic 11 font size that you'd use on like an essay or something for school. Now, this is just the very basics, and this is just going to lay down what you're going to be doing for your page. Now, obviously, it does not look aesthetically pleasing at the moment because we haven't gotten into CSS, we haven't gotten into colors, which will be a blast. That'll be next episode. Blast sarcastically, but colors add a lot of popping, and when you see color, your eyes gravitate towards it, so you always want to use some color. You don't want it to be black and white like this. So when we close this, we can just do a quick example here. Let's just extend the time here, I don't know why. But if we go to Open With and choose Default Program, we can go to Edit Program and go into like Notepad. Since it's up here, I'm not going to go searching. So as you can see, Notepad opens it up here. Now if we were to change this to a header 2, well, first I'm going to open up this home page so that we can see the difference. So when we file save, it's going to overwrite that, and we can go into here and we can open with Google Chrome. Now when we do it side by side here, we see that the header 1 or header 2 is smaller than the header 1. This is so you can distinguish different font sizes. There's a way to do this with paragraphs, but we'll talk about that next episode, along with other aesthetic choices in your documents. So that'll sum it up for this episode of this basic HTML tutorial. I want to thank you all for listening to this, and since this is my first video, I'm greatly open to feedback. I encourage feedback, and I'd really love to hear from you whether you thought this was helpful or what I should improve on, because I'm pretty much open to anything here. So if you think I should improve on something, just let me know. And obviously I'm going to be learning along with you guys, since I'm not an expert in like JavaScript, and I'm certainly not completely knowledgeable in CSS, although I am somewhat knowledgeable. So again, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope it helped you, and it would really, really make me happy if you told me whether it helped you or not. And I will see you in the next episode, I guess. Okay. Good morning or good night, depending on whether you are, and I shall see you later. Bye-bye.